Hello, everyone. This is me, Simon. I'm going to be posting some of the lecture videos for you guys like this. Apologize for being so late on this, but I will have them ready and ready to go before the next couple of chapters, okay? It's just this week has been really, really crazy. But chapter 4, let's talk about perception. Perception is how you view the world. It influences how you interpret things. It influences how you understand things. It's very, very important. Okay, so of course it's going to impact how you communicate. There is a perception process. There's 4 steps. The first step is selection. You yourself make the conscientious effort to listen. A lot of people think that focusing on something is easy. It's like breathing air. It is not. It takes work. You have to focus. You select what it is you're going to listen to, what it is you're going to focus on, okay? What you need to know out of this, though, is the motive. Why should you listen to people? Well, if you're doing business, then your motive is to do business. Maybe generate revenue, make a sale. All of you, you should listen to me because this is part of your education. Step 2 is organization. This is how we arrange information in some meaningful way. For all of us, it is our perceptual schema, how we organize things. Remember during week 1, we talked about encoding and decoding. This is what organization is. How do you organize things? Okay? For most of us, we look at things from left to right. That is because that's how we were taught to read. That's not always the case. Some of you will look at things from top to bottom, right to left, whatever. But for the most of us, we look to left to right. As it happens, we use our senses: sight, sound, taste, smell, and touch. Out of all the senses, sight is the one used most. Because when you walk into a room, we see you. Okay? We see how you're dressed and we see how you look. As soon as we see you, then we start putting you into classifications. We stereotype. Right? It happens instantaneous. Punctuation, it happens as soon as we see you. Boom. The way you're dressed. You're wearing a Cowboys jersey. You believe in losers. Oh, I went there. But if you're wearing a Cowboys jersey, I can assume right away, boom, you're a Cowboys fan. Okay? Instantaneous. Happens fast. Remember, though, this could be, I could make a mistake. Just because you're wearing a Cowboys jersey doesn't mean you're a fan. Maybe you just haven't done laundry and it was the only thing clean left for you to wear. Okay? Interpretation is we assign meaning to the data. And then the next couple of things are factors that will affect your interpretation. Okay? Make sure you read those. They're all in the book. Make sure you read them. But interpretation, you make sense. You interpret it. You organize it in a way. Maybe the sentence was incorrect. And you correct it in your head, and then now you interpret it. Like Spanish. You hear the word casa in your head, and you transfer it to English, to the word house. That way you can understand it better. That's organization, and then now you interpret it. Okay? Then step 4 is negotiation. This is how we influence one another's perceptions, and we come to a shared perspective. This does not mean we come to an agreement. What this means is we come to an understanding. I understand you, you understand me. Remember, we don't have to agree on it, but we can understand what's going on. Political season right now, we're voting for people. God help us all. We all can understand it's important to vote. That is your voice. That is your civic duty. Who you vote for, though, we don't have to agree on that. But we understand voting is important, okay? And the way we influence each other's perceptions is by telling narratives. We tell stories. Alright? That is how we come to a shared understanding. Influences on perception, of course, the first one is access to information. Access to information, the more you get to the story, your perception will change. If you go to dinner and the waitress is rude to you, A lot of you are right away like, oh, there goes her tip. No tip for her. But if I were to tell you that her boss called her and said she still had to come to work or lose her job, even though her husband died yesterday, all of you, your perception of her would change. Some of you would probably even give her a bigger tip. And then you would go after the manager for being a jerk. You see how your perception changes because you get more access to information? Then there are physiological influences, the senses. If you don't have a good sense, if you're blind, it's going to change how you view the world. It's going to change your perception. I have hearing loss. So for me to watch a TV show, it's a completely different experience than it is for somebody who has very good hearing. Psychological challenges are ones that are like medical diagnosis. Somebody who lives with schizophrenia, depression. These are all psychological challenges. They affect how they view the world. Age. Older people see the world differently than young people. Young people are dumb and full of hope and they got dreams. Old people like me, we're bitter, we're angry, we have no more dreams. Health and fatigue. Imagine somebody living with diabetes. That's something that's going to affect their perception. They just can't go out to eat and eat anything. They have to worry about stuff like that. Blood sugar, insulin. That's going to affect their perception. Hunger. I'm not talking about missing breakfast. I'm talking about 3-4 days without food. It happens. It changes your perception. Biological cycle. Sorry, ladies. That was the nicest way to say PMS. But don't worry. Men have PMS too. It's just a different kind. But when you're going through that, do you want to deal with anybody? Do you like anybody? Do you want to talk to anybody? No. Cultural differences. Yes, culture will impact everything we do in this class. Your culture impacts your perception. I am a Hispanic male. I have what's called machismo. It is the overinflated Hispanic male ego. I think I'm king. I'm always right. I'm always supposed to be in control of situations. I'm never supposed to ask for help. I am never supposed to show emotions. That is weakness. So of course, if I see somebody else showing emotions, my perception of them is they're weak because of my cultural beliefs. The one thing you want to avoid though is ethnocentrism. Avoid it. This is where you believe your culture or your way of life is superior to other people. When you think your way of life is superior, it's going to impact how you communicate with other people. You're going to talk down to them. You're going to tell them they're wrong. You're going to be condescending. You're not going to be open-minded. Eventually, people are going to stop talking to you because you think you know everything and you don't. Social roles are just that. Social roles are just how human beings are supposed to behave in society. Always share, be courteous, be kind. But there are 3 roles under this that will influence your perception. The first, of course, is gender roles, how men and women are supposed to behave. Women are supposed to be ladylike, passive, agreeing. It's okay for them to be aggressive, go-getters. Okay? Occupational roles, the job you have will influence how you see the world. Okay? A doctor looks at things differently than a banker. Doctors, blood coming in, medicine, healthcare. Bankers are thinking interest rates, revenue, things like that. Even when you have the same job field, you think about different things. I'm a college instructor, I'm an educator, but I think about things differently than somebody who teaches kindergarten. They're teachers, but yet they have a different outlook on life. And then relational roles. The relationships you have will impact how you interpret your perception, okay, how you see the world. When you were single, you used to stay out all night partying. You would say bad words. Then you had a child, and now you're like, please don't cuss around my child. I don't want my baby to hear bad words. That's what I'm talking about, okay? Before, it was me. You get married, now it's us. We do make some common tendencies, errors. And the first one is the self-serving bias. This is where we judge ourselves more charitably than we judge others. We are nicer to ourselves. When something good happens to us, it's because we deserved it. We earned it. When bad things happen to us, it wasn't our fault. It's because they were jealous. They were haters. I always tell people, this is an old Mexican woman. This is my mother. When I got my first job and graduated college, it's because Simon worked hard. He was a go-getter. When the neighbors' kids, they got cars, it's because they were all drug dealers and sluts. You can see the difference. She was a lot nicer when it came to her family than it was to others. Also, the halo effect. Now, I know the book says a positive impression. No, it could be negative. It's that you cling to the first impression. You will always see that person the way you see them the first time you met them. So if you were rude to me day one, I'm going to see you rude always. Even when you're nice to me, I'm going to think, oh, they're plotting. They're setting me up. They're rude people. This is why they tell you, job interviews, put your best foot forward. Because then they'll remember you as somebody polite. Okay? We assume that others are similar to us. No. Not everybody likes what we like. Not everybody does what we do. We are influenced by our expectations. You know, if I know you and you've lied to me your entire life, I'm going to expect you to, what? Keep lying. If you're a drama king, and if you exaggerate stories, well, when you come, hey, Simon, I got a story to tell you, I'm going to expect you to exaggerate. Okay? And then we're influenced by the obvious. Remember, again, the senses. Out of all the senses we use, sight. We're influenced by it. So the clothing, the way you look, you don't comb your hair, things like that. All right? I used to ask girls all the time about the lazy girl ponytail. You know, where you just put your hair up and it looks all sloppy, but it's a ponytail. And one day, one mother said to me, this is not a lazy girl ponytail. This is a working mother's ponytail. She was like, I got 4 kids. I got to get them to school. I need to get to class. I don't have time to fix my hair, so it's just easier to put it in a ponytail. So, but see, I was influenced by it because it looked kind of sloppy. But again, like I said, my interpretation was incorrect. These next 2 slides, you guys can read them on your own. But remember, these are things you can do to check your perception. Get the complete story. Nonverbal congruency. This just means, did the verbal match the nonverbal? You say you're not cold, but then you shiver. That's incongruent. You're cold. Okay? Culture rules. Like I said, I have machismo. I'm Hispanic male. I'm better than everybody. Deal with it. Okay? Empathy, cognitive complexity, and communication. Remember, empathy is where you can show concern for somebody even though it's never happened to you. Cognitive complexity is just looking at things from many different points of view. If you are engaged in interpersonal communication, you will have empathy, you will have cognitive complexity. If you are in impersonal, you don't care about their feelings. You're talking to them as an object. They don't even have feelings. Okay? And then the last thing you have is the pillow method. Please, you don't have to read this. You don't have to learn this. My whole theory on this, if you have the pillow over their face and you can still hear them talk, you need to push down harder. Okay? This is all of Chapter 5. If you have any questions, please let me know.